For kindergarten, I call all the number stuff in kindergarten early counting and grouping. They can just start and just do all of it because the kids, not that they're at the same level, but the kids all need to learn those basic concepts first. So kindergarten, it could be just jump in and use early counting and grouping. That's the minimum. So this first page shows you that we're going to be going through the counting concepts in term 1, then the grouping concepts in term 2, and then we're going to start using the groups, so joining groups, friends of 10, taking away from a group, that kind of thing. And then in term 4, we're going to really dive deep into the teen numbers and what teen numbers mean. And everything's done, as you know, informally in kindergarten. Now you can see then I've got the, the other strands there. So now if I go on to the next page, you can see that it says we're going to start with the rote concepts. There's no actual maths in these. It's just you have to know the forward and backward sequence. You have to be able to know how to write numbers and you have to recognize numbers. So we're going to spend the first couple of weeks just on that, and then we're going to bring in counting with one-to-one correspondence, because if you start trying to teach a child how to count items before they actually have a really sound understanding of the number sequence or what numbers look like or how to write numbers, it's the cognitive load is way too much. We're going to start with just the rote concepts, then we're going to continue the rote concepts at the same time as bringing in counting items. Then we're going to continue the rote concepts while we're still counting items, and we're going to get that understanding that a number always represents the same amount. Then we're going to continue with the rote concepts, continue with counting, and bring in supertizing. Then we're going to continue those at the same time as we're starting to look at number before and after, and so on. So this is where in kindergarten teachers often only teach a lesson for say 10 or 15 minutes and then they change the focus. So in this way, this could be 20 minutes each. This could then be 10, 15 minutes for each of those, half an hour for them, and so on. So, and then the teachers are using their professional teacher judgment of, okay, Monday, I'm going to focus on the recognizing numerals and on the counting and on the counting forwards each time is adding 1 each time, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is where the teacher decides which of these parts in kindergarten they're going to focus on and for how long in a day. And it should add up to around about an hour each day of maths. And even on these days here, where they're doing the other concepts, they could still be bringing in counting things and, recognizing numbers and stuff. So as a minimum for the kindergarten teachers, I'd be saying, all this greeny color stuff. And then if they want to teach the other concepts the way that they always have, they can. Or if they like the way that these are taught as well, they can teach those the way that I teach them as well. And then term 2, it builds. If children haven't demonstrated understandings, counting forwards and backwards and so on, can continue to investigate that while the other kids are starting to investigate grouping. Because obviously if you can't count 10 items, you can't really investigate grouping because you still haven't got that one-to-one correspondence up to 10 yet. But because you've made anchor charts when you investigated them up here, you can then say to the child when they go to their tables, so in the explicit teaching they can be part of the grouping concept, and then when they go to their tables you can give them their own little bag with their own little resources in and say, you're going to keep learning how to count with one-to-one correspondence, for example. So a child might be able to count with one-to-one correspondence up to say 3, but they can't go past 3. So you're going to give them some counters and the numbers up to say 4. So they're learning how to count 4 items with one-to-one correspondence. And then once they can do 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to give them the number 5. So that child, when they go to their table, they're continuing to develop their capacity to count with one-to-one correspondence up to at least 10, while the other kids at their tables are learning how to group. If I'm the child who's still learning how to count with one-to-one correspondence, I can still sit next to a child who's investigating grouping. And then when the teacher says, turn to your partner and ask them to explain, what they're learning, I can say, I picked number 5, I got 5 counters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my partner can say, I picked the number 5, I made a group of 2 and a group of 3. So I'm still hearing what they're learning. So then when I'm ready to learn about grouping, I've already heard about it, and I've listened to lots of kids in the class explaining it to me. Plus I've been part of the explicit teaching where kids were grouping. But I'm still learning at my own level. And I know it sounds like kindergarten can't do this. Kindergarten can do this. You train your kindergarten kids how they're going to learn. So if you train them that the teacher sits with a group and the other groups do something else, that's how they're trained to learn. But if you train them that you all go to a seat, you've all got someone sitting next to you, a different person each day is fine, and you will follow my instructions. Once you can follow the anchor chart without my instructions, off you go, investigate, explain to your partner. Investigate, explain to your partner. The kids pick up that really fast because they're kindergarten, they don't know any other way of learning. So the minimum for kindergarten, I would say, would be anything that's this number colour, because that's anything that's number is that colour. But then if they wanted to do the other things the same way, they absolutely could.